It's recap time. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and this is not my usual intro. This is a bit of a special episode. Unfortunately, I will be away for a few days, and I found out this interesting way of filling the gaps with recaps from previous episodes. If this is your first time here, use it as an opportunity to find topics that you might be interested in and go back to listen to the original ones. If you are a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, well, again, this might be a rehearsal of topics that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I understand if you want to wait for me to be back. But in the meanwhile, the podcast needs to continue and we need to reach day 365. Having said that, I will not keep you longer. Thank you very much for listening. As always, a like and a subscribe. They are always welcome. And now, recap time.
Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're doing something a little different. We're diving into the work of one creator, Chip, the host of the Shower Podcast.
Yep, and we've lined up 3 of his episodes back to back, 344, 345, and 346.
And we're doing that because they tell this really compelling story, a kind of arc that I think a lot of us can relate to.
It really is. It starts with this very personal, paralyzing struggle. Then it moves into the science that actually explains it.
And then it transitions into this bigger, much broader reflection on knowledge and our responsibility to the world. It's quite a journey.
Chip's show is, it's famous for being really honest and personal, and these 3 episodes just feel like a perfect little trilogy.
So our mission today is pretty simple. We're going to pull out the clearest, most actionable ideas from that 3-part experience for you.
And hey, if any of this stuff really clicks with you, whether it's the procrastination science or the civic duty part, the original episodes are out there. We definitely recommend them.
Okay, so let's jump right in with Chip's starting point, that personal wall.
Right, that's episode 344. And he opens with this paradox. Why is it so hard to finish something when you're almost done?
The last 5%.
The last 5%. Why is it so much harder than the first 95?
Okay, so let's unpack that feeling. He said it was a pattern he saw in his own life, and he had some really good examples.
Oh yeah, really high stakes ones. He talked about his education, first his bachelor's, and then even more intensely, his master's degree.
You think about all the work that goes into a master's, years of it.
Right, all the exams, the reading, all of it. But he says the final writing part, just submitting the thesis, was the, and I'm quoting him here, deadliest part of a nearly 5-year process.
That just doesn't make any sense on the surface.
I know.
I mean, the thesis is the victory lap, right? It's the thing you chose to write about. But he's saying that was the point of the most resistance.
Exactly. Because the closer you get to the end, the higher the stakes feel. There's less room to hide, I guess.
And then this was the exact same friction he was feeling with his podcast.
Yeah, as he was getting close to what he called the magical day 365.
A full year of the show.
A full year. The show was mature. He knew what he was doing. He had topics ready. It should have just been a smooth ride to the finish line.
But something was pulling them back.
And this is, I think, the funniest and most relatable part of the whole thing.
Oh, I know you're going to say.
He admitted that on the very day he was supposed to record the episode about procrastination, he put it off for 2 or 3 hours.
You can't make this up. It's so meta. The episode about stalling was itself being stalled.
It's the perfect feedback loop of resistance.
But his theory for why he was doing it wasn't just, I'm lazy. It was deeper.
Much deeper. It was this feeling of not wanting something big and important to actually be over.
Like you're holding on to it.
Exactly. Even though, logically you should be happy to finish it and move on.
So he saw that this wasn't really a problem of skill or ability. It was a psychological thing.
It was an emotional attachment to the journey itself. The effort was all tied up in the doing. Finishing means that chapter is closed. For good.
So he took that frustration, that weird internal feeling, and he decided to turn it into research.
He did. Which brings us to the next day, episode 345, where he goes from just talking about his feelings to finding the clinical definitions for them.
He realized his struggle wasn't unique at all. It was actually a textbook case of a few different psychological concepts.
And the first one he brings up is something called the action crisis.
Okay, action crisis.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty serious. What is it?
It's a specific phase you enter when you've already put a ton of time and energy into a goal.
So you're deep in.
You're deep in.
Huh.
But instead of speeding up, suddenly you're hit with all these doubts. The obstacles feel huge. And the key thing is, your focus shifts.
How so?
You stop focusing on doing the work and you start focusing on questioning the goal itself.
Ah, that question. Should I even keep going?
That's the one. And that's the real energy drain, right? Because now you're not just fighting the task, you're also fighting this huge internal debate about whether it's even worth it.
It just becomes this heavy weight.
Precisely. And he connects this to research on procrastination that shows we delay things most when they feel unpleasant, the reward seems far away, and this is key, our confidence is low.
But the really interesting part, I thought, was the emotional layer he added on top of that. This idea of completion anxiety.
Yes. Completion anxiety, that's the tension you feel right before you finish something that's become a part of your identity.
Like a degree or a big creative project.
Exactly. And it's driven by a few fears. Fear of failure, sure. Fear of judgment once it's out in the world. But the biggest one.
Let me guess. The fear that the final thing won't be as good as the perfect version you had in your head.
That's it. When the work is unfinished, the fantasy can stay perfect. The moment you hit send, it's real, it's imperfect, and it's out there for everyone to see.
And he connects that to another concept, the arrival fallacy.
The arrival fallacy, yeah. It's that illusion that once you achieve the big goal, get the diploma, hit the 1-year mark, that you'll suddenly feel this complete lasting happiness.
But your brain kind of knows that's not true.
Your brain suspects it's a false promise.
Yeah.
And so it resists crossing the finish line. Why would it? It means saying goodbye to the heroic striving part and facing the messy reality of whatever comes next.
Okay, so we've got this triple threat, action crisis, completion anxiety, and the arrival fallacy, all teaming up to create this wall at the 95% mark.
A deadly combination.
So what's the solution? He offered 3 really clear, actionable steps.
And the first one is maybe the most important. Simply, name it.
Just giving it a label.
Just acknowledging what's happening. You're not lazy. You're experiencing an action crisis wrapped in completion anxiety.
And that creates distance, right? It's not, I'm a failure. It's, oh, my brain is doing that predictable thing where it tries to protect me.
It depersonalizes the whole thing. The second step is something we've probably all heard before, but it's so critical here. Shrink the finish line.
Break it down.
Break it way, way down. The thought, finish the thesis, is totally paralyzing.
So instead you think, what? I'll just open the file.
I will open the file and write 2 messy bullet points, or I will check the citations on 1 single page. You lower the emotional stakes to basically 0.
So you can just bypass the anxiety and get some momentum going?
Yep. And the last tool in the kit is positive self-talk. But a specific kind of it.
It's not just, you can do it.
No, it's shifting your focus. The point isn't to prove how great the project is. The point is just to be done so you can live the life that comes after.
Focusing on the freedom on the other side, that's a great toolkit.
It really is. And that whole internal battle, that struggle with finishing something difficult.
Yeah.
It actually sets up this massive thematic shift in the very next episode, 346.
Yes, the deadliest weapon.
Where he goes from that internal resistance to this urgent need to engage with really difficult external truths.
This is where the whole thing just broadens out completely.
Yeah.
Because if we struggle so much with our own goals, how on earth do we deal with the overwhelming, unpleasant truths of the world?
And this wasn't just a theoretical question for him. It was sparked by a very specific event.
Right, the documentary.
Yeah, he watched this 2-hour documentary from an independent journalism group in his home country, Romania. And it detailed significant corruption in the judicial system. Names, practices, everything.
And he said before he watched it, he just wasn't interested. It was just noise, not his problem.
Total indifference. But after those 2 hours of just pure documented information, his entire worldview shifted. It changed how he saw the system, his country, even how he talked to his own family.
It was a cascade.
A cold cascade. And the scary part for him wasn't just the information itself. It was how fragile the delivery of that information was.
He said he was just fortunate that a friend he trusted sent him the link.
Exactly. That critical, life-altering piece of knowledge might have just passed him by completely. And that's when he couldn't be complacent anymore.
He couldn't claim ignorance.
Right. And that led him to his main point in The Deadliest Weapon, which is about the difference between ignorance and choice.
He says that not knowing about all the bad stuff happening out there can feel like a relief.
But it's only a privilege if it's a choice. Real, total ignorance isn't a solution. It just leaves you unprotected and in the dark.
So then the challenge becomes, how do you manage all this difficult information without just shutting down, without getting a kind of civic action crisis?
And his advice there was really pragmatic. He said you have to pick your battles, find your zone of residence.
Start close to home.
Absolutely. Fix your own life first. Make your immediate world good. And then you can escalate your engagement based on where you are and what you can actually do. You can't solve everything.
But you have to choose to resonate with something. And that idea of resonance was tied to his big warning, wasn't it? The danger of just being indifferent.
Yeah. He said, if you choose to ignore the big issues that matter to other people now,
There will come a day when a different issue, one that hits you directly, will pop up.
and on that day, when you're shouting about how unfair it is, no one will be listening.
Because you didn't listen when it mattered to them.
Your shouts are just met with silence. It's a call for, like, mutual civic attention.
And to do that, you have to stay sharp. He ends by stressing the need for critical thinking.
Which ties it all back. Because in a world flooded with information, where something like that documentary can be so powerful, you have to be vigilant.
What you think is true can so easily be the result of manipulation.
So the work, the real final 5% of being a citizen, is the effort it takes to create your own opinion.
It's amazing. So we followed this thread from the internal paralysis of the action crisis to the tools for overcoming it, all the way to the urgent need to fight indifference in the outside world.
Personal discipline feeding directly into civic responsibility. It's a really powerful arc.
And it leaves us with, I think, a really interesting final thought for you to chew on.
We learned from Chip that to get our personal goals done, we have to shrink the finish line, right? To simplify, to focus on these tiny little steps.
But at the same time, we have this mandate to stay sharp and aware and engaged with these huge, complex, uncomfortable global issues.
So how do you balance those two things?
Yeah.
That need for internal simplicity with the need for external engagement.
Is managing your attention and information, deciding what to let in, what to filter out, and what to act on, is that the ultimate last 5% struggle of modern life?
A really challenging question. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Chip's work. We really appreciate you taking the time.
See you tomorrow.